Welcome everyone to Pivotal Stats, where we talk about data analysis techniques, business intelligence platforms, and much more. So let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back. So today in the part 4 of the Basic for Python series, we're going to learn about functions. Now what is the function? Function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Now in our previous videos, you have already gotten a taste of inbuilt functions that you have in Python, which are type, int, str, and so on, right? These all are inbuilt function of Python, which you can just simply type and call. But today we're going to learn how we can actually create our own custom functions and how we can use them in multiple scenarios. So without any further ado, let's quickly jump into it. Okay, so I have this notebook file opened so that we can write our first function. And to define a function, all you have to do is to write a keyword called def, okay? And the moment you write def, it will turn to a different color, signifying that this is a function. Now, whatever name that you want to give to a function, you can write here, okay? So I'm going to write a function called greet. And a function will always have a opening bracket and a closing bracket. Right now, this function does not have any parameters in it, so that's why the brackets are empty, but we will get into that in a while. Once you have entered your opening and closing brackets, the next thing that you want to type is a colon sign. Now, when I press enter from here, this notebook will automatically create an indentation, signifying that whatever I write within this indented line will be part of my function. This is similar to what we saw in our last video in conditional statements, right? So this indentation here is very important. Now let's say I simply write print and within brackets I say hello and then I execute that function. Now as of now, nothing has appeared on our output window because we just defined a function. So in order to call a function, you simply write the name of the function and enter a opening bracket and a closing bracket and then execute. This has given us hello in the output window, exactly what we asked it to do in our function. So now we have seen how to define a function and how we can call that function to return a certain output. Now let's see how we can add a parameter to a function, okay? Because right now the function that we created does not have any parameters here. So we need to see how we can add a parameter to a function. So let's create a function here by the name of square number. And within this, I'm going to use a parameter called x. Now again, I'm going to enter a colon and come to the next line. Now I'm going to enter the logic here. The logic is whatever value is there for x, square that number, okay? So how do we square in Python? If you remember, we can use a double star sign and then 2. But by in itself, this will not give me any output. Let me show you. So when I execute this, the function has been executed, but it did not give me any output. Now after executing, the function has been created. Now let's see what this function will give me when I enter a parameter and call this function, okay? This will give me nothing. The reason being, while creating this function, I have not asked the function to return any value. And the way we ask function to return a value is by writing the return statement. So I'm going to say return here and I'm going to execute this function once more so that it gets updated. Now when I run this statement once more, it will give me 9, which is exactly squaring the number or parameter that I supplied in my function. Now the beauty of function is it can be used again and again, and you can change your parameters every time you use it. Okay, so let's copy paste this one. And this time, let's say I want to use 154 instead of 3. And this will still give me the square of that number. Now, one thing to note here is the return statement should only be used once inside a function. If you use it multiple times, then the first return statement that it gets, it will return that output. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean. In this function, I'm going to add another return statement and I'm going to say return 2. Okay, and I'm going to execute this function. Now if I run this last line of code, it will still give me 2 because the function just ran and the first line it got was a return statement. So we're asking that function to return 2. So it just ignored everything else and just returned us 2. So keep this in mind. Return statement can only be used once in any particular function. Now let's spice things a little bit. You've seen how we created a custom function and added a parameter along with that function to get some desired outputs. Now let's see how we can use a conditional statement within a function to add some logic to your function. So I'm going to define a function here by the name of add condition, and I'm going to enter the parameter m here and a colon. Now within a colon, I'm going to write an if statement, which is my condition statement. So I'm going to say if m is greater than 50, then print awesome, else print bad. I'm going to create this function now. Now if I want to call this function, I'm going to just say add underscore condition, and instead of m, I'm going to just write, let's say 89. And when I run this, it will give me awesome. Similarly, if I call it again, and this time if I give it 23 and call it, it will give me bad. Now adding one more step to this, in case you have more than one parameters, in case you want to add more than one parameters within your function, you can do that as well. So I'm going to define another function here. And to add multiple parameters, what I can do is I can write all the variable names here and separating them with a comma like this and colon. Now I can add this inside my condition statement, and I'm going to say if x is greater than 30 and y is less than 20, then return z plus 10. Okay, else return z plus 20, and I'm going to execute this. Now if I call my function here, I'm going to say add new, and let's say 20, 20 and 20. This should ideally give me a value of 40 because this statement was not true. Hence it moved to the else statement and returned a z plus 20 value, which is 40. Now obviously defining functions and function as a whole has many more applications. So practicing all of those is the key here. So I suggest you to go ahead and practice whatever logic that you have in mind and create a function out of it so that you can see how this can help you in your daily workflow. So with that, I end this video for now. And in case you found value with the content that I created, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell icon so that you don't miss any content that I upload. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.